press briefing, so I appreciate all of you being here. A few things that I want to kick off with, and then I'm going to hand it off to Chief Nance. She is going to elaborate more on what the police department is doing, and Chief Cochran, he's here from the Reno Fire Department. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I really want to start off with, we are getting back into school, and it's really critical that everyone understands what school zones look like, what the speed limits are, and to really pay attention to all the little ones going to school. That is really critical because we've all been out of pocket for a little bit, and everyone's coming back from vacations and a great time over the summer, but people forget to slow down. So I want everyone to realize that Reno Police Department is going to be out in full force at all of our school zones, and we are going to be reminding people, but we are also going to be ticketing people. So I want to make everyone aware. So parents, talking to you, I need you to slow down in school zones. Really, really important. So that is top of mind with the little kiddos. So the other thing that I want to stress is that we are ramping up enforcement on McCarran Boulevard. It has absolutely been out of control. We've had enforcement there previously, but we are ramping it up to a whole different level. I just cannot begin to tell you how tragic some of these fatalities are on our roads. I am asking everyone to please do your part. What I mean by that, if you have friends and loved ones that own motorcycles, we call them donor cycles for a reason, unfortunately. Because they have high rates of fatalities. And what I want to ensure is that people are coming home safe every day to their families, to their loved ones. So if you know people, obviously that like to speed, or particularly we're seeing a lot of motorcycle riders along McCarran at all hours of the night, and it's not going to be tolerated. But as friends, family, and parents out there, please stress to your kids to please slow down. And also, if you own a motorcycle, it's been really, really tragic. And here's the hard part. This is unnecessary. This is unnecessary. Doesn't have to happen. These tragedies don't have to happen. But also, I would say be respectful of others that are on the road as well. Because we have just seen tragic outcomes because of speed, because of drinking, those types of things. And guess what? The Reno Police Department is not playing around with our partners from NDOT and other jurisdictions. I can tell you right now, it is getting very, very serious. So we are going to be taking even more action. And I'm grateful to all of our officers who have been ticketing along McCarran. Thank you so much, Chief Nance. Really appreciate it. I also want to stress we are still in very high fire danger. Everyone needs a to-go bag. Do not forget that. That is really, really critical right now. Everyone needs to be on alert. I need you to do everything you possibly can to mitigate any fire danger in your area. Please reach out to the Reno Fire Department. If you see people with excessive weeds or certain fire dangers, we need to know about it at the city. And it goes back to see something, say something. I need you, if you see something, say something. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's graffiti or speeding or, high fire danger. We're seeing, people go out there and target shoot sometimes, and it causes a real risk to our community. So I am asking all the public to please join us at the Reno Police Department and the Reno Fire Department. If you see something, say something. It's really important that we keep our community safe, but also like I said, we are taking this incredibly serious. Our officers are ready, and we won't tolerate it. We will not tolerate it. So I just need everyone to be on alert. It's really, really critical. Last but not least, it is summertime. I'm so glad everyone is enjoying the river and the activities, and we have hot August nights happening right now. We do have road closures, so please visit reno.gov for those road closures. People always like to know where those are at. Get out and enjoy the beautiful cars. But I also want to say along the river, there is no camping. There is no sleeping. We are keeping it clean. That is really critical for everyone's safety. And again, we won't tolerate that either. We just will not. That is important that we have a safe and vibrant community for everyone. So I want all of you to be able to enjoy the amenities that we have here in the region. They're pristine. They're precious. I'm asking everyone to please help the city of Reno keep it that way. I'm going to have Chief Nance elaborate on a few things that I probably have missed and that are on their radar. And so I'm going to hand the floor to Chief Nance.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Sheevy. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I really do feel that these are important to get information and messages out, and also have a consistent means to talk to our media partners to answer any questions that you might have. It goes hand in hand with our ongoing process of having transparency and openness about what we're doing in the police department and things that are going on here. So right now, I really want to talk a lot about what we're doing to ensure public safety. First and foremost, I do want to say that our thoughts remain with the victims and loved ones affected by the GSR shooting and everybody in our community. Incidents like this do shake the entire community and strengthen our resolve to be proactive, visible, and prepared. As a reminder for all the media partners and our community members, the Sparks Police Department is taking the lead on this officer-involved shooting and is actively still conducting their investigation. This does remain an active and ongoing investigation, so I will not be able to make any comments on that at this time. But in partnership with the Sparks Police Department and with our ongoing commitment to transparency, we will be releasing our critical incident video in the next few days. I am hoping that will happen in the next week or so. There's a lot of information still to sort through to get that video out to the public. If you want examples of what those videos look like and what we've put out in the past, you can refer to our YouTube channel. That's where the video will be placed when it is ready for release. I understand the fear and uncertainty that follows these incidents, but we want to assure you we are committed to protecting every member and visitor of our community. And this tragic incident based on one person's desire to enact violence in our community is not a direct reflection on the ongoing safety efforts that myself, the fire chief, and the mayor have to ensure that our community is safe. The mayor touched on hot August nights. Most of the special events this magnitude, we do increase our staffing levels significantly across all areas within our jurisdiction to ensure that safety of everybody here. We're going to have deploy additional resources on foot, bicycle, motorcycle, and in vehicles in the hot August nights footprint and surrounding areas where we do see an increase of activity. Specialized units, including our tactical teams, are on standby, and they'll be strategically placed around the event. If you see something that concerns you, I need you to say something. Public safety is a shared responsibility, and we are listening to you. We cannot see everything in our community that happens in an instant manner, but we do know that other people do see it. As the mayor said, see something, say something. Please report anything suspicious to us. Our non-emergency line is 775-334-COPS, or you can find an officer working the event and let them know if you see something that you think is an imminent danger. We have worked very closely with the hot August nights organizers, venue owners, and private security teams to ensure that every event site has a comprehensive safety plan. And we're going to continue to work with event organizers and staff throughout this event. We hope everybody has fun. We welcome the visitors and the members of our community who are out experiencing these different events that are happening. But please remember to be safe. Do not drink and drive. Designate a driver, and to continue to monitor your safety around this area and complete these activities in a lawful and law-abiding manner. Any sort of criminal behavior at these events will not be tolerated. Things that we can do if we see somebody that is not participating in a manner correctly, we can remove event badges. We have had to cancel events because of unsafe things that have happened, and we will eject people from the events and not allow them to return, coupled with, obviously, for criminal behavior and activity, arrests, where the participants in that criminal activity will be transported out to the county jail. So I want to make sure that we do have a safe event, but know that we are at no tolerance for criminal behavior in regards to those. With the increased staffing, we will have no problem doing enforcement for people that choose to make this a not safe event. Moving on to school safety. School's coming back into session. It seems like we just had last day of school, and now we're back to first day of school. So during that time when school's been out of session, you have not seen the flashing lights in the school zones telling you to slow down. It is imperative that you start paying attention to those and know where they're at in your communities on your normal drive to work, because it's easy to forget. It's been several months where you haven't had to slow down to that magnitude. We need you to start slowing down and thinking about that as school gets back into session. So expect to see increased traffic enforcement in the morning and after school hours in these school zones. We will be working with our school district police to make sure that those kids get to school safely and that the parents dropping off those kids do those things in a legal manner. The first thing I get complaints about is drop-off zones and parents not following the rules that are set out in the traffic enforcement law that are there in place to keep our kids safe. So as a parent taking kids to school, please also be mindful of what those rules are around the schools where you're dropping your children off. So to slow down in school zones, speed limits are reduced in those areas. We want to make sure that you're following those, strictly enforced during the posted hours, typically before and after schools. Watch for children and crossing guards. Be alert for students crossing the street and obey all signals from the crossing guards, and always stop for buses with the flashing lights. That is the law. And distracted driving can equal bigger fines. So put your phones down, no texting, no calling while driving in school zones, really anywhere. But I need you to be extra mindful where those small children are. It's very challenging sometimes. Littler children are sometimes below your line of sight when you're driving. They don't always understand the danger of cars. So we have to be the responsible drivers to ensure their safety. And then that enforcement will come with tickets, and violators can be ticketed for speeding and endangering students. And some of those fines can increase in those areas. So please help us keep our kids safe and the parents dropping off safe. This is all of our responsibility. And with that, I want to turn this over to Chief Cochran.
All right. Thank you, Chief Nance. Appreciate that. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. My name is Dave Cochran. I am the Reno Fire Chief. A couple, or kind of a spectrum of things we want to talk about this morning. And I'll start with the flooding that we recently had. That was on the 27th, I think, of July. Big event, short-lived, but still, nonetheless, highly dangerous, very dangerous. We saw flash flooding. It's kind of unique. You see flash flooding in isolated pockets of the city, and in the other areas, it's not even raining. The important thing that people need to understand is that the floodwaters are very powerful. They may look benign, they may look shallow, they may not appear to be a threat, but like I tell people with the river, they don't relent. If you get in a bad situation, there's no pause button, there's no timeout where you can get yourself out of that situation. Fortunately, there was no injuries, no fatalities. We did have a spike in flood-related calls. But we want to make sure people are aware, don't drive or try to cross moving water, floodwater. Floodwaters as shallow as 12 inches can move a car. 6 inches can knock a person down. Once you knock down, again, there's no pause button, there's no stop button, so that those floodwaters can turn a bad situation to a worse situation virtually instantly. And then, of course, avoid the river, creeks, drainages, anything like that, where you can't see the bottom. You don't really know what you're getting into, because that's the other threat as well with those floodwaters. Turning to fire trends. I feel like we go to a wildfire every day. And it's probably not literally true, but it's pretty close. We've already gone to one today. We went to one yesterday. Over the weekend, we had a couple. Mayor Sheevy said it. Fire danger is high. It's a very real threat. You know, we say fire season is all year round, and it is, but this is really the peak season where we're up to PL4, which is preparedness level 4, which that's kind of the alert system that we use, the nation really uses to gauge what's out there, what activities out there in terms of fires, but also what resources are going to be available. Because as that level goes up, it means we have more fires, which means more resources are committed to those fires. It means there may be less if we get a fire in our area. PO5, by the way, is the highest. We did see back-to-back fires up in Cold Springs just last week. We had the Peavine fire and the Ridge fire. I mentioned both of those because I don't believe we have a cause yet. It's under investigation. The Peavine fire, the Ridge fire was human caused, and as I like to remind people, most fires are human caused. It doesn't mean that somebody started the fire on purpose, but it does mean that a human did or didn't do something that resulted in that fire. Speaking of things that we can do or not do, it's still camping season, even though Chief Nance and the mayor pointed out, people are going back to school, so we're going to see less people out traveling, vacationing. But when you are traveling, and it may be on vacation, maybe you're going hunting, something like that, where you're dragging a trailer, those safety chains can cause sparks, lead to fires. Happens literally every year. So be cautious, be aware of that. That's one of those things that people can do to make sure that they aren't the cause of the fire. You have the catalytic converters and other undercarriage pieces on the vehicles that are hot enough to start a fire. So if you get out there in that dry grass, that dry brush, that can easily start a fire. And just, you want to make sure your car is well maintained. Bad brakes can cause fire. They can overheat. And if you're camping, if you're out in the wilderness, know where fires are permitted. When I say fires permitted, I mean campfires. Most of the areas right now, they're not permitted because they're too dangerous. But in some areas where they are permitted, just make sure that people are following the restrictions, following the limitations. Again, so that we are not the cause of a fire. Drones are a big thing that have come up on these wildfires as well. On the Barron fire that we had a few weeks ago, somebody put up a drone, a private person put up a drone, caused all air operations to be shut down. That's federal law, that's state law. We can't fly, I'd say we, the royal we, fire service cannot fly when those drones are in the air because it's too dangerous. And we want the public to know, we know you're curious. Drones are not illegal, we're not saying that, but over a fire, they actually are. It's federal law, FAA regulation prohibit private individuals from operating a drone over fire. And fallout from that, again, air operations stop right now. Every helicopter, every tanker in the air has to stop. And that inhibits our ability to fight that fire effectively. Luckily, that fire had no injuries, no property loss, but it could have gone the other direction. So, make sure that I'm covering everything for you. Oh, and the last thing I want to talk about is Senate Bill 319, which we talked about 2 council meetings ago, I believe. The City Council approved the interlocal agreement between Reno, Sparks, and the county. And what that agreement directs is that they commission a study, so they perform a study to evaluate regional fire service. And we're looking at all aspects of regional service, operational, fiscal, governance. The ILA called for the jurisdictions to form a committee with 2 members from each jurisdiction. The mayor is actually one of the representatives from Reno on that committee. Very excited about that because the goal is to find a path forward to a regional fire service. Because at the end of the day, that will provide better service, get the right resource to the right call at the right time for our community, help us be more effective in the delivery of fire service across jurisdictional lines, which really that's what everybody wants. You've heard it numerous times. We're not that interested. We, the citizens, are not interested in what it says on the side of the fire engine, what color it is. They want the right service when they call for it as quickly as possible. And that's our goal, to provide that service. So I think with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mayor Sheedy to close this out.
Okay, thanks so much. I'm so glad Chief Cochran brought up the flooding. It was really interesting because you didn't see it all over the city. And the areas that you did see it in, it was pretty dramatic. And I think it's a great reminder. There's a saying, don't drown, turn around. And everyone should really pay attention to that when you see water. And you called it out. It's, I think, about 6 inches, right? That can start to get really challenging. And we did see very high levels of water. So, and when that happens, I would also say, please, for many of you, well, we're all getting our information today on social media or through our phones. We actually do have a new system. I think, is it through Washoe County that we can sign up for updates, or through the city of Reno? That I just saw that just rolled out. Yeah, I'd love for you to come and talk about this, because I think this is super critical, because oftentimes we hear people saying that we don't listen. We're both on this Apple box together. They have to do this so that I can see you guys. I think this is really, really important, because I think it's especially important because we all have to have the same information. It does not help the different jurisdictions if we're telling you different stories. This is why this is super critical. And I want all of our residents to sign up, be a part of it, because in an incident, everyone's going to go, where do I go? What do I see? What do I do? And this is going to be incredibly helpful across the city and Washoe County. So I'd love for the chief to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was probably supposed to talk about that earlier.
It's all right. Well, this is a lot
It's
going
Smart 911 is what the system is called. And you can find it on our City of Reno website. There's an emergency preparedness page. There's alerts and notification button. Just click on that. It'll take you right to the sign up. What it allows you to do is put in your information and your contact information, or however you'd like to be notified. Do you want email? Do you want text? Do you want both? All that's available. And what you're going to get when you sign up is those alerts basically in real time. As things are developing, there's a flood, there's an active shooter, there's a wildfire. And what that allows you to do is know, first of all, there's an incident happening, where it is, what you need to do. And somebody asked me about this yesterday, and I think it's a great point. If you have friends, family, loved ones that maybe have mobility problems or have some limitation on their ability to respond in an incident like that, get your group together so that you're all getting those responses. So if I have a parent who has mobility problems, I'm going to get an alert and know that my mother or father is in that affected area. So we're not asking people to go respond to that, but now you can call 911, say, hey, there's this person at this address who's got a limitation that now the emergency responders, we can respond to that. So that it takes a village. That group effort can be very effective. Like I said, going back to Smart 911, that is basically in real time. That's going to get you your information. You don't have to worry about social media or logging on or checking your feed. It's going to come right to your phone, right to your email, however you like to be notified, and be right there. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up with mobility problems. But the other thing I want to stress, this is really important, is that there are a lot of seniors that don't have technology. Knowing that, reach out to your friends, family, and loved ones and check in on them. We also see a lot of youth that don't have technology as well. Knowing that, I need everyone to watch out for their neighbors. That's what makes a really safe community and a very loving community. Honestly, check in on your neighbors, especially if you know they're seniors or if you know they're young kids that might be at home, especially when we get those alerts. But just be mindful of others that they might not have the same access due to their limitations. So I'm glad you brought that up. But I think it's really important that we push out that information, because now we are living in a time where we are seeing fires and floods and things that happen at a moment's notice. And so everyone's got to be prepared. That can make a world of difference whenever we have just a short window of time. So I can't stress enough how important that new system is. And then also you did bring up the bill, which is really good, about regional fire. That is something in this jurisdiction we are working hard to solve, and I'm grateful for the legislature for putting that in. But I also want to praise the efforts of the regional fire dispatch, which is happening now, which is significant, and it's life-changing for the region. So there's a lot of progress being made when it comes to public safety, and we're really grateful that you share the information with our community, because honestly, we couldn't do it without you. So appreciate you being here. And if you have any questions for any of us, please let us know.